Hello everyone, if you'd like to see my makes for the week, which is a Revel Topper, an assembly line oversized shirt, and the Maison Fauve Rosalie dress. Also, I'm going to show you what I've put into my granddaughter Phoebe's birthday present box because she received a real sewing machine for her birthday. So I've made up a box of things to take with me tomorrow when I go and visit her. If you'd like to see all that, stay tuned. Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Deb and this is DB Designs and Sewing Australia. Welcome to all my subscribers and welcome to anybody who is new. And if you're not a subscriber, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. So I have made a few things this week. Now the first thing I made this week was a Revel Topper. And that's by Sew House 7. So that's the Revel Topper there. That's view A, view B and view C with those huge sleeves. And you can probably see better with the line drawing. So I made this one, view B. Yes, view B. And there's a very extensive size range on the Revel Topper. In the standard sizing, it goes from a 00 to a 20. And in the curvy, it goes from a 16 to a 34. And this was a pattern that I had printed out, but I was good and I traced the pattern off, thinking that this is a pattern that other people will want. So I need to preserve all of the sizes. But really happy with the outcome. So this is the top here. I will pop some photos in so it's easier to see. Quite an easy sew. French seams across that top. And then you top stitch the French seam down. And you have the option of doing the facing to the inside or to the outside. And I did mine to the inside. But if you had a contrasting fabric, it would look really cool to do it to the outside. Now this is made in an organic cotton by Madame Iris. And it's called Saki Organic Cotton. And the fabric is absolutely beautiful. It is so lightweight. It's just lovely. And I did just do a normal hem. I think I only had a small amount of fabric. Can't remember if I had 1.5 or 1 meter. Doesn't take very much fabric. And you'll see from the photos, it actually makes a very nice little top. It has bust darts that are on an angle, which is easier to see in the line drawing. So when we look at the line drawing, they're the bust darts there. If you make the one with the giant sleeves, it doesn't have any bust darts in it. Obviously, it doesn't need any space for your bust. And that is a completely separate pattern piece on the pattern. So it's a completely different top, the one with the huge sleeves. I actually really like the look of the one with the huge sleeves, but I don't know if it's for me and if it would just swamp me a bit much. But really happy with this top. And I'm just loving the fabric. Really, really nice. So I made that exactly as per the pattern, and I actually made a size 10. So why did I make a size 10? I must have been looking at the finished measurements of it. It's a good fit. It's not terribly oversized, which is the look that I was going for. So in the photo, I've got it on with my white jeans, which are ash jeans. So I should actually get lots of wear out of them this summer. This would actually probably look really nice with my high-waisted Jude jeans as well. So that was my first make. And my second make was the oversized shirt by Assembly Line. This fabric came from Maker Society. and it's called Stretch Cotton Shirting, and it is Blush Palms Cotton Spandex. So it's got a tiny bit of spandex in it. It's what I call comfort stretch. So just a little bit of stretch in it that makes it really comfortable to wear. I'm just loving this shirt already. And it looks quite different than the plain white one I made. The plain white one I made, this is the pattern here. The plain white one I made was in 100% cotton, so it sits out a little bit more from your body compared with this one that I think sits much closer to your body. And once again, it's got those fabulous pockets. I just love the pockets in this. I don't know, they're quite big pockets, but not the biggest pockets I've ever made. But for some reason, I really, really love these pockets. And I made some bias tape and did a bias hem like I usually do. Just makes for a really beautiful, clean finish. And it's so much easier on a curved hem to have the bias binding. Makes for a great finish. Lovely collar on this, easy shirt, cuffs, and I just used just some plain navy buttons. I didn't want to take anything away from the shirt. I did have some coppery coloured buttons, which I thought might be good, but they were actually a bit on the small side for an oversized shirt. So really happy with the shirt. And in this pattern, I make the size small. So that will also be based on finished garment measurements. This pattern goes from an extra small to a 3XL. So the garment measurements for this oversized shirt is the extra small measures 113 centimetres in the bust and the 3XL measures 169. Now I made the small, which measures 121. And my bust is 100, so I didn't want it to be so oversized. I've only printed out 3 pages because I try not to print anything much out. When I need to look at instructions, I'll look at it on my computer. So I'm not sure if they gave you the actual size you should be making. So it says oversized shirt is based on a classic style but with an oversized fit. It features relaxed shoulders and traditional shirt collar or standing straight collar, rear box pleat and side seam pockets. And so I didn't do a box pleat, I did an inverted pleat. In the white one, I did a box pleat. So a box pleat and inverted pleat are just the opposite to each other. When you look on the inside of an inverted pleat, it's a box pleat. So you can choose to have that on the inside or the outside, whichever you like. I'm not sure if it was my mum or when I was at school that men had box pleats and women had inverted pleats. And so it's always been my preference to do an inverted pleat on the back of a shirt for a female. So really, really happy with it. Nice cuffs. And just overall, you could either wear it open or buttoned up. In the photos, I think I've got it mainly buttoned up. But lovely shirt. We'll make more of these because I absolutely love those pockets. And the next thing I made was the Maison Fauve Rosalie Dress. This is the Rosalie Dress. And I made the size 44. Now that was based on my measurements. And it does give you the finished measurements. But it gives it to you laying flat. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So there's a size chart saying the finished measurements. And here it's like your guide to where it is here. And I'm really glad it had that because I did a 4 centimetre waist adjustment. So when you're looking at the line drawings here and you can see where the waist goes in, There is a line that says lengthen or shorten here, and I took it up by 4 centimeters. And that was based on something called C1, which is the key to working out your measurements, because I was 4 centimeters shorter from the shoulder to the waist than the pattern allowed for. Between my bust and my waist, I'm really, really short, called short-waisted, but I didn't need the bust taken up. I just needed this part here where it goes in to be at my waist. Otherwise, on me, it would have been down here. And then you think your dress is too tight in the hips, but it's not. It's because that's where your waist is supposed to be. So really happy with the measurements and all of the detail they give you for the measurements, because I don't know that I would have taken it up by that much. And I would have had to do a toile when I actually made the dress. Now it does have a keyhole in the sleeve, so that's where you can either choose a tie, or there is also a button version, which I think is shown on the blouse. Yeah, so you can see on the blouse, it's just like a button version, so you still put that split in it. I decided I was not going to put that split in it. So the sleeve bands are made up of several pieces, but I just did it a different way. They do have interfacing in them, but I just decided I'm just popping these bands on to see how much I like them. And I think I like the bands that short. It was supposed to be that band length again, but I think I like it this short. Now this is made in a Euro Viscose from the Dahlia Sewciety. Now it came in a bespoke box and it was called Dreamscape. Really beautiful fabric. And to save on fabric, so I wanted to see if I was going to be able to get how much I could reduce it by, to see if I can get this dress out of 2 meters. So it calls for a lining, but just in the front bust. And so I did a lining in a very light pink cotton poplin. And I'm really happy with the dress, but I did, because I'd already done it, hand sew a little bit more of this up because it is quite low. So when I make it again, I will be the closed front higher. Now I'll show you what I mean. When we look at this, this is how you're doing the front. So this is the fashion fabric, this is the lining. So when we look at the fabric, you're stitching your fabric to your lining down to this point. And then to join the 2 fronts together, you're opening that up. And trust me, it's not as easy as it looks there to open that up and join those together. And like anything that comes to a point, I sew from one side to the center and then from the other side to the center. I don't sew it all in one. It's too hard. It's easier to separate them. But if you wanted to bring this up higher, you could easily, instead of sewing down to this point here with this notch or marking, sew it up higher, and that way when you did this part, this would be deeper and your front would be more closed. So it's actually a pretty easy fix. I did just quickly whip stitch it together a little bit. Some of the photos I've got have got it before I sewed it up, and another one's got it after I sewed it up. But very happy with the pattern, very good measurement detail, and I didn't need to put the zip in. So you basically make the back and the front. You've sewn the back bodice to the back skirt, the front bodice to the front skirt, and then you sew the sides together. So it overlocked everything else, and then I sewed the side seams together and tried it on to see if I could get it on without a zip, because I thought this is like a lot of the other dresses and it actually doesn't require a zip. I can easily get it on, but I still think size 44 is the correct size to me. I think it would be too tight. The only thing that strikes me as a little bit odd is this band on the inside. It doesn't get stitched down. And I don't even want to loosely stitch that down, because I think when you move it will start to pull the skirt of your dress up. It doesn't come up when you've got it on. In fact, it didn't even come up when I put the dress on. It just seems a bit odd to me, that's all. But if I was to make it again, I would certainly be putting a lining in the back. And so I don't see why I wouldn't actually put a lining in the skirt as well. I think this could be a fully lined dress. Yeah, so that was the only thing that struck me as odd. There are no pockets, which is not a deal breaker for me, not at all. Really happy with it. I think the fabric's beautiful, really pretty, really pretty. So that was my Rosalie dress. Very happy with it. Little bit low in the front. Nothing like the lowest dress though. The lowest dress is difficult to change, but as you'll see, the lowest dress doesn't have this section here that's already sewn up a bit. It just comes from that center point. There is no vertical, so that's what makes the lowest. You're going to alter the whole thing if you fiddle around with that front too much, whereas this one, you could take that up much higher if you wanted to. So when I first made it, I thought, I don't know if I like this. And then when I was trying it on for photos, I actually thought, I actually really like this dress. So I changed my mind about whether or not I liked it after having it on for a period of time. And then one of my customers came when I was doing the photos. It's freezing cold here today, and I had this like summer dress on. She must have thought I was an idiot. And so the more I had the dress on, the more I really liked it. So I think the Rosalie dress is actually a success. I'm very interested to see how it would work out in a heavier fabric. This is quite a lightweight viscose. And as you can see, it looks very pretty. It's very pretty fabric. It's got threads hanging off it everywhere. That's it. I just don't look, all of these dresses, and the Armadale does it too and everything. If you looked at it on a rack in the shop, you'd think that just looks like an old lady's dress. Like, because the boobs are weird when it's just hanging on a hanger. It's a slightly forward shoulder, like there. Yeah, it just looks, they just look weird to me on hangers, those dresses. They actually look like they're huge on the hangers, when it's really not the case at all. And the other thing I was going to show you was my granddaughter Phoebe turned 8 in October, and I haven't seen her since then, and she was getting a real sewing machine for her birthday. Now, she sews on my sewing machines, and she had like another style of sewing machine which only has one thread, doesn't have like a top thread and a bobbin. And so if you pull it the wrong way, the whole thing just comes unraveled. When she's been here, I've shown it before, she's made a dress, she's made aprons, interested in making a wallet or a handbag. And so she got a real sewing machine. Now, she was supposed to be getting the Janome DC 2050, but apparently that sewing machine is discontinued. So she got a Brother A116. I think it is. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's AI16, but A116. because it had to have certain things. This is what I had discussed with my daughter, that it needed to have speed control. One of the biggest thing for kids is speed control on your sewing machine. So, and a few other things that need to have automatic buttonholes, and it needed to be really easy to use so that it doesn't put you off. If the first time you'd ever sewn was an absolute disaster, you had no one to help you and it was just a giant mess and everything was all tangled up, disaster. So Phoebe has a fabulous memory. When we do sewing here, and you know there's certain ways you finish things off, are you going to auto cut the thread, or is it in the middle of something and you want those tails left long? She remembers all the instructions on remembering to raise the needle, or if she's going to pivot, remember to leave the needle down and raise the foot. She remembers all of that thing. So I think she'll be very, very successful. But she doesn't really have anyone to help her. Now, her sewing machine was bought from a sewing machine centre. I said to my daughter, do not buy it from Spotlight or anywhere else. Buy it from somewhere where they can help you. Because my daughter's got no idea on sewing. And she said to me, do I have to wind the bobbin? What's a bobbin? Okay. So Phoebe's opened her present, but she hasn't actually used it yet. And so I have a box of things for her. So I thought I'd go through it. What's in her box of tricks? So I've given her several different coloured threads. She's got a black, a white, a grey and a fawn. So they're general colours that she will use. And because I use Echidna Sewing, it's a sewing centre. I think I bought both my sewing machine and my overlocker from Echidna in Glen Waverley. They will send you like little things. So these are like little badges. So I just pop them in there for her. And this is her sewing machine mat. And here she's got a quick unpick and a purple thing that's pink. And all of this has got little pockets in it. It's big, so she'll be able to have it on her desk. Now her desk is sort of in the kitchen area, Abby told me. So she's got that. And I bought her a bobbin box and I've wound some bobbins for her. But we will be going through winding bobbins and the importance of making sure they are really wound properly. A whole box of clips. Now she's got clips because I don't allow her to use pins. I don't think little kids need to use pins. It's just too dangerous. The other thing I bought her is a tape measure. And I've also got her one of these mini irons. Now that's a Semco brand, which I think is Spotlight brand, but hopefully it won't get too hot. And her mother told me she's got a mini ironing board, so I'll check that out when I go there and see if because I've got a spare mini ironing board, not a sleeve board, but like a mini ironing board, so I can take that next time if she needs to have it. Some universal needles, and they're general size from size 10 through to 14. A little La La Land purse, because I've got a few of these. So I thought that might be handy for her to keep buttons and other things in, things she collects along the way. I've popped some labels. A couple of years ago, when she was first sewing, I got her some labels made. So she's got, I put in some Made by Phoebe labels, and this unicorn one that says, I am magical, she'll love that. And one that says, you are clever, and one that says, made with magic. So I've got those in a little plastic pocket for her. I've also got a stainless steel dish. Now this is highly magnetic, highly magnetic. I use these a lot in my sewing room. So that just means that when she's taking the clips off, she can just whip them straight into this. And once she uses pins, invaluable. And I actually have one that's just completely for safety pins. So, and a seam gauge. I have no idea where I got this one from. This actually looks better than the one I've got, but seam gauge. And this beautiful machine needle cushion. Now, I think I got this as one of the presents in the 12 Days of Christmas Advent calendar last year or the year before. But I had already previously made my own. And so I thought this is going to be really good for Phoebe. It's little and it should fit in the drawer of her desk. I don't really know what her desk setup is, but that will be really good for her. Now, the other thing I've got is I've cut out a pair of shorts for it. Now, this is a paper cut pattern. And it's the Tula pants or shorts. See if it's got a bit of a line drawing in it. Yeah, there's a line drawing. So there they are there. And so I've cut out a pair of shorts. I think they're the short shorts that I've cut out. And I have cut out the pockets also, but I thought I would give her a choice of does she want to do the pockets or not. And because I'm going to her house, and she doesn't have an overlocker yet, and it's in linen, and this is just a bit of practice fabric, I think. I've cut out the shorts, back, front, and pockets, but I will give her a choice of whether or not she wants to put the pockets in it. I have overlocked every piece, so every single piece of this is overlocked so that we won't have to worry about finishing off the seams for her first project that she may be finishing by herself, which may involve a few hysterical FaceTime calls, I'm sure. Not sure if that'll be from her or her mother. And so I've popped in some red thread, and I was thinking before, oh, I should wind that on a bobbin. And then I thought, no, that'll be a good one to practice with how to sew a bobbin. How to wind a bobbin. I've put in there a piece of elastic that's a little bit bigger than her waist because she's quite thin. So I made them size 6 wide and size 7 long. So she's really, when I took her measurements, she's the height of a 7-year-old and the width of a 5-year-old. And I thought, well, we don't want the shorts to be too fitted. They're supposed to be loose linen shorts. So I did the width of size 6. But I will get to see if they're a good fit for her. So we've got the pattern and the fabric. the little iron, the magnetic dish, which they seem to get great pleasure out of. I know my grandson does. He thinks it's fabulous. The bobbin. So there's different sorts of bobbin cases you can get. I've got some where the lid just slips on. So how many times have my bobbins fallen all over the floor? So I thought one that clips up is going to be a better idea. Some labels. I'm sure she has got some of her own labels at home, but probably not very many because she did most of her sewing here. 4 reels of cotton, a seam guide, a tape measure, a lovely little pouch for her to keep some notions in, because she will ask me, what's this for, what's this for? So I don't think I've really spoken to her much about notions. This lovely sewing machine needle pillow, some more sewing machine needles, 2 badges that she may want to put onto her sewing mat, whatever she wants to do with it, and her sewing mat with a quick unpick and a pink thing. So that's Phoebe's present. And once my sister gave me this fabulous box, it's such a good sturdy box, magnetically closes. I think it had a whole lot of things for making gin cocktails in it. But it's a fabulous box, so I'm reusing it for Phoebe's present. So that's her present already. I do need to get a card. So I'm going to see my daughter and granddaughter and grandson for a couple of days. And then on the Saturday, we're going to the city for frocktails. We're staying till Monday, coming back. So next time I talk to you, it will be with all the frocktails info. So really looking forward to that. Looking forward to a fabulous night and catching up with a lot of people. It's supposed to be very, very big this year. I think they've got 500 attendees. So that is a big night. And the weather here has been, we had one day where it was 30 and then it's been like 15 and 13 and 11. It's been really cold. So I have no idea what's going on with the weather. I just have to play it by ear. But I hope you liked my makes and I hope you like seeing the sewing box I made up for Phoebe. I'll have to have a look at her sewing space and see. I suspect it's like inside a nook or a cupboard if it's off the kitchen. So I'll talk to my daughter about shelves and then see if possibly she needs some baskets made so that she can put things in it. But I'm sure this box will come in very handy for her. Anyway, please like and subscribe. Everybody have a fabulous week. I'll be back before you know it with all the frocktails goss. Have a great week. Bye.